Hey guys, so if you've watched last Friday's video, you'll know that we went to Summonat Slam with the little MX5 and had a fat weekend. We ran, well, here be spoilers, okay? So if you haven't seen the video, go watch that and then come back and watch this because we're going to talk about what happened on the weekend. So we had 5 runs and we ran 9s on every pass, which we were so happy with. I tell you what, after running that very first pass, running it into the 9s, I could have packed up right then and gone away a happy man. But, you know, we had opportunity for more passes, opportunity to make better passes. Yeah, we're definitely going to take that. Plus, it was a top fuel meet and the buzz and the excitement around that was just fantastic. I haven't seen top fuel in a long time, probably 10 years. And, you know, the excitement, you know, of seeing those cars go down the track again is just brilliant. And just seeing so many first timers watching Top Fuel for the very first time and seeing their reactions, it was awesome just to relive that experience again. But it was a big meeting and Lance and his crew did an amazing job. The changes that he's made to that track in the last 4 weeks are just simply fantastic. You know, like they've resurfaced the entire track from the concrete, you know, so the start line's concrete, and then out, not quite to the 330, it turns into asphalt. And they redid the asphalt for the entire length of the track, the braking area. It's straight, it's flat, it's smooth. Beautiful chute packing area down the back end. The staging lanes, all asphalt as well. With, you know, just looks beautiful, and it's great to be able to just line up in the staging lanes where you're not driving through potholes and that sort of thing. All the carports all now have concrete in them with asphalt front and rear. Just the amount of difference that makes to as a racer going to these meetings is just brilliant. And it certainly, yeah, it was just such an amazing weekend. I'm still buzzing about it. You know, this is like 4 days later and I'm still like, I just want to go racing again. I want to take the Mazda out there again, go faster, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So first up, we started the weekend by, you know, going out there and just doing a soft pass. And people go, oh yeah, soft pass, got it. No, 100% soft pass, because we had no idea how the car was going to react. We didn't know what the track conditions were, didn't know anything. So, you know, I've strapped into the car. Tolf's had to help me strap me into the car, you know, because once with the arm restraints and everything, you've got absolutely, you know, you can't reach things. Once the arm restraints are into the system, you can't actually reach the buckle and stuff other than to just undo it. That's all you can do. You can't like plug things in and whatever. So having Tolf there to help me was great. So obviously I'm lined up there, super nervous because, you know, again, we don't know what the car's going to do. I've never driven a 9-second car down a track before. You know, it was all a new experience for me as well. And just to make that first pass, just take it easy and still run a 9 is just fantastic. So the car did a very slow 60-footer, a 1.64 60-footer, which, you know, Trolvo 60 foot's quicker than that. And it just, I short shifted. You can even see that on the dash. I'm sure Maddie will overlay some video for us and show us, but you can see the shift lights of dash only gone 2 positions, so I think I shifted about 5,200 RPM. That was about it. Short shift, go through the traps, 145 mile an hour, then reach down and pull the parachute. All a new experience for me, but everything worked. The car went straight, you know, in 9.89 seconds, 145 mile an hour, and we were just over the moon with that result. So we knew the car had a lot more in it. Now, we'd done a bit of calculations prior to the meeting, you know, trying to make guesstimates of what the car weighs. We knew what power it made, but we didn't know what it weighed, so we're putting figures into, you know, there's a very good website called Wallace Racing, and it has a lot of power speed calculations and quarter mile calculators and all that sort of stuff. So putting the figures into that, and it was spitting out figures of like 9.2, and we're like, oh, okay, what? But that was 9.2 at 149 mile an hour. So we got the weight wrong. I know we got the weight wrong because when we came back from the meeting, we took it down the public weighbridge and put the Mazda on the scales. And this will surprise you. A lot of people think this car is super light, and it is relatively light, but it is 1,160 kilos, just the car. So you put my weight in there, it's now 1,300 kilos on the start line. And yeah, so when you put those figures in, the car has more in it. We know the car has more in it, but we're kind of in the ballpark. So first run, 989, 145. We go out the second run, and I decide to bring the RPM up to 3,500 RPM. So we haven't got a two-step in the car. It's purely trans brake, and then bring the throttle up, bring the speed up on the engine RPM, bring it up 3.5 grand, and then release. So when I do that, front wheel picks up and it fires off down the track and then tries to pull me into the right-hand wall. So I'm trying to fight against the wheel to keep it off the wall, and I ran out of hands. I'm like, I've got hand on the shifter, I need to just get rid of that. So shift, again, according to the shift lights, 5,200 RPM, short shifted something fierce. Like we should be spinning it at 6 plus. So 5,200 RPM, I short shift, and that way I've got two hands on the wheel, fight it away from the wall, and then drive it down the track, pull the chute at the end, and it goes through for a 9.65 at 144 miles an hour. So slightly down a mile an hour. We're still trying to work out what the cause of that is. It might be that I short shifted enough that it just didn't make the mile an hour. Who knows? But really good run. We're super happy because now we're into the mid-9s and we're stoked. Now, unfortunately, they ran out of time on the Saturday. We didn't get our third pass. I would have loved to have made a pass in the cold weather and really send it. And I think we would have done a really good run, but they kind of run out of time in the schedule. Running top fuel takes a bit of time, and so they basically said no third run. So we packed up for the night and come out in the morning. So we come out in the morning expecting to make our first passes at 10 o'clock and find out the schedule's changed again. Driver's brief at 8:30, planning to run at 9 o'clock. We get suited into the car, ready for 9 o'clock start. Half an hour to 40 minutes later, we finally get a run, but I get to the start line, and because, been cold morning and I've been in the car, and I pulled my visor down and everything fogs up. So I'm going into the burnout box. I'm like, okay, let's just do a burnout, get to the start line, and I'm trying to watch the dash, but I'm like, got the sun shining behind me and fogged up screen, and I just couldn't see the RPM. Like I'm bringing it up on the foot and on the trans brake, I'm bringing it up, and then I see the tree start coming down. I'm like, crap. Last yellow, release, and it was too low. The RPM wasn't there. So we did we don't have the time card for that. Time card didn't print, but I remember it was a 1.66 60-foot time, so slow on the 60 foot. I got caught straight away by the Gemini, which is an 8-second car. It's a high, I think it runs 880s or something like that. So he caught me, backed off, we crossed the line together, he wins. And that's fine. We did I think it was a 9.82 at 144 mile an hour, something like that. So after that, I knew there was no chance of me making the finals. So at that point, with no chance of making the finals, I can concentrate on just running numbers. So we go out there for our second pass of the day, and the other guy leaves, and we're just sitting there at the line, just bringing it up on the RPM. I bring it up and I decide to go for 3,700 RPM off the launch. Launch is really nice, really clean, and goes down the track nice and clean. Now, because of the positioning of the cameras, I can't see what RPM I shifted at. I don't know if I got all the way to 6 or not. We don't have any data logging in the car because it's running a Barra computer and it's just talking to a Haltech dash. Neither of those have data logging capability. So, when you're in the car running 9-second quarters, you don't have time to watch everything. You can't see, that you've got this much oil pressure or this much, fuel pressure or whatever. it is what it is, and you just run it down the track as the car demands, you know. So get down the end, and we find out we run a 9.62 at 143 mile an hour. So down a mile an hour again. Don't know why, because it's got no data logging, which is frustrating, I've got to say, after dealing with the Trovo and Superman, which both have data logging. You can see all the data after each run, and it's so much fun getting into that data and working out what works, what doesn't, and making the runs better and better. So we're kind of flying blind a little bit with this car. It is what it is. So yeah, like I said, 962, 143 mile an hour with a 1.46 60 footer. It wasn't the fastest 60 footer we'd done on the weekend, but the fastest time. So very stoked with that. We thought we could get a 1.5 out of it somewhere, like a 9.5 out of it somewhere along the line. So we get to our last run, and I decided to go back to 3,500 RPM for the launch. It launches, and then it starts bucking, like the engine's going rah, 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 and the car's starting to buck, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. So I just shift, get into it, and we go down the track. And it's kind of, I was getting ready to pull out of it. I've got to say, with the bucking and carrying on, I was just about to step out of it, and then it calmed down and went. And I'm like, okay, we're into it, let's go. And it went 988 at 144 mile an hour. So again, another 9-second pass, so can't be disappointed with that, but we were hoping for that 950 or better, and I think the car has it. I don't know why it did that, and I noticed that it also did that on the 9.65 run back on the Saturday as well. Did it a little bit, you'll see that on the video, but didn't do it as badly as it did on Sunday. There's some theories, like, is it launching so hard that it's grabbing the tyre on the side of the wheel tub? I don't know. The rain's starting to come down now, but that's all right, we'll push through. I don't know why it did it. We'll have to work it out. We'll have to work out what the possible reasons are behind it. But we want to push the car a little bit harder next time, and we want to see what you guys feel. Do you think we should push harder with the Mazda? I think this car can go 8s. That's where I think it is. I think we can go 8-second quarters with the little Mazda without changing the motor. Like, still, stock bottom end green top. This engine has valve springs, head studs, Kinetic gasket, and oil pump gears. Other than that, it is a stock bottom end green top. So that's doing pretty good. We're making 580 rear wheel horsepower. We're running 9.6s with a stock bottom end green top Barra. So you can't be disappointed with that. But I think possibly we could push this into the very low 9s, if not the 8s, with that stock bottom end, and that would be amazing. I'd love to try and do it. There is some risk involved, because if it launches an engine while I'm at a high speed, it could put oil under the tyres. So we may look into putting some sort of oil pan under the engine so to catch shrapnel if it does let go, because the last thing you want to do is go into a wall at high speed. Don't want to do that. The car also could use some lightning. So I think it still has its airbags. Like, factory airbags are still in the car. They're not connected, but they're still in the car, and they weigh a fair bit. Still has the side windows. They don't operate, so why to have them in there? We don't need them in there, so we'll pull them out. It's got a passenger seat we don't need. A few things like that. I think confidently we could pull, 60 kilos out of this car. Zane reckons there's another probably 50 kilowatts to be had from the engine. He's like, at the moment he's got it super safe. Like, we wanted it to run down the track, no problems, and it did have no problems. Didn't fill the catch can, didn't do anything, didn't push any oil. Like, super safe, super happy. All we did was put fuel in it, and the car was fine for the rest of the weekend. So yeah, we are going to put an anti-roll bar in the rear end. So that's a bar that mounts sort of above and, above the diff, and there's arms that rotate and they're attached to the diff, and it keeps, so you're seeing at the moment the car's going like that off the launch. with the anti-roll bar in it, it'll go straight up and just fire down the track. So that'll be coming from Enemies Australia, Enemies Racing, sorry, Australia. So they're Jamie Farmer and the crew up there in Queensland. They make amazing gear like that. So they do, you know, bead locks and anti-roll bars and all that sort of stuff, all made here in Australia, high quality. So they're going to be sending us down an anti-roll bar kit. We're going to install it in the Mazda and fix that launch. So keep it straight, take some weight out of it, as I said, put some power into it, a few things like that, and we'll send it again. And like I said, we'll see how it goes. If it runs an 8, fantastic. If it doesn't quite get there, like say it only goes to 9.2 or whatever, all right, then we'll reevaluate where we are. But I'd love to hear the opinions of you guys out there. I want to know what you think. I know the car hasn't been as popular as it was in terms of views. It doesn't get the views that say the Trovo gets, or the Commodore, like Superman gets more views than the Trovo and the Mazda. You know, so I know we're not going to keep the car forever, but I would like to see potentially where it goes to from here. And I want to see what your opinions are on it and how you thought we did on the weekend. So let us know in the comments. I want to know what you feel about the car. I'm kind of in love with it again because I kind of went off it there for a while, but it is so much fun to drive and race that I would love to see more from it. So let me know your opinions and we'll go from there. Catch you next time.